Hi, my name is Darius Dawson, and welcome to another episode of From Scene to Cinema. I'll be your host, and today we're going to be talking about casting, the casting process, and I guess most recently my experience with casting for Downstream. So I just got back from LA. It was 70 degrees, sunny, 80 degrees a good day. Now I'm back in Chicago, and it is snowing. It's 10 degrees and snowing, so that's not great. But the great news is that I got most of my casting done for Downstream. My producer, a producer that I had met at while I was attending NYU, she for her thesis film she used this free service in LA called Cast. It's a free service. They give you a space, they give you an iPad, a camera to record the casting sessions. All they ask is that you leave feedback for the actors after after it's over. But it's completely free. You go online, you put on the descriptions, and it was great. And I guess I just want to talk about my experience a little bit, and then also just like the casting process in general. I think for indie filmmakers, I think finding a way to cast for free is always the best bet. There are some pretty cheap casting services. When I was doing Trash, there was one. At one point, I was going to shoot in Missouri. Of course, I ended up in the Carolinas, which is great because that's where I'm from, and I know it. But at one point, I was going to do Missouri, and I found this nice woman, but she was charging $500 for casting, which maybe might not sound like that much, but if you think about it, if you're an indie filmmaker, it's like you may be working with $2,000, maybe even a couple $100. I've worked on budgets of $200 before. I mean, we all have, of course. So $500 essentially, if you've got a cast of 7 to 11 people, that's crafty, a craft services for 2 days. So it's what do I want? Do I want that casting director experience, or do I want to, feed my people, which is, especially when you're not paying them, which is, much more important. So I would always say find a way to cast for free. There's plenty of websites out there, Backstage, LA Casting. There's so many things out there that are getting actors connected with filmmakers. So I would definitely do that. A big thing, and something that I've done for both Trash and Downstream, is the video casting. It's got its advantages, and then it's definitely got its disadvantages. So I've done some video casting, and then at Cats in LA, I was able to be face to face with actors, learn more about where they're from, and just kind of be in the same space with them, and just kind of sometimes it's making them a little bit more comfortable, because if you have actors sending in submission videos, sometimes it's kind of it can be either kind of dry, or you don't really have a sense of who they are, because I think that's a big factor when you're doing an indie film, is who are these people you're spending, who knows, maybe 2 days, maybe you're spending 7 days, one short I worked on was 14 days, it's we spend half a month with somebody, and it's if you can't stand to be around them, it's not going to be a good process. It's not going to be a good working experience. So I would definitely say do something where you could get in front of the people. So luckily for me, Cats had an actual space for us to use, but if you can't meet at a space, sometimes you could book a room at a library. If you're in school, of course there's that. Just find a little conference space. Maybe it might preferably that doesn't cost anything. Sometimes maybe if you have to do a few dollars, maybe at the library or something like that, then I would definitely try to get face to face with the actor. A thing that you should do, whether you're doing video casting or face to face casting, is of course have sides either directly from your script, or in my case I never do a lot of dialogues. I end up making up scenes they'll be based on scenes from the script. I just kind of add in dialogue just to see more so their understanding. Another thing I also do are monologues, because since they spend so much time in silence as the characters, I kind of want to see, how do they, what are their thoughts, because it will show, when the camera's showing, it will show on the screen. So what you definitely want to do is have them do the first go around. Don't give them too much information, just make them comfortable, and then kind of dive right in and see what their initial thoughts are. And then this is probably the most important thing, is give them a new direction. Even if they nailed it, oh man, that was perfect the first time, give them a new direction. Maybe if it's not exactly what you would have them do, see if they can take direction, because there's going to come a point during production when you're going to need them to do something different. And some actors, I call it actor IQ. I don't know if that's like a thing. Maybe I made it up, but it's like some actors are really, can really pick up on it. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything. Working with Angela for Trash, I mean, she had like the highest. She was just like so sharp. It's like I would just kind of like, after I said cut, we would look at each other, and she's like, "Let me try it again," and then it's like, "Boom! Oh, she got it." So that was like that was a great situation. Because Angela's trained, of course, and everything. But then on the flip side, Zane, our male lead, he wasn't necessarily trained, but also he had a very good ideal of these characters. He's from South Carolina. He's from these like areas which I write about. So he's got personal intimacy with these characters. So we also had a relationship where it's like, no. It's like, okay, let me try it again, and boom, he gets it. So that's why you want to be face to face with people. It's like, what is their actor IQ? What is their personality? Is this someone who can actually give critique to? Because some actors, I haven't ran into too many of them, but some of them are like, I can't believe you're trying to, change what I'm doing, and it's just not a great situation. So yeah, and one thing that's definitely great, and you should ask for this when you do your castings. Maybe say, hey, if you could bring a resume, headshot. I've got tons of headshots here, so it's like, hey, do these guys go together? You can you and your producer, or whoever your collaborators are, can sit back and really not just think about how they did, but how they look, because sometimes you can have like a great actor, but if they don't look right, it's they don't look right. From there, you have a few options. You could change the role, or you have a few options from there, But yeah, that's all I have. I had a really great experience. Saw really amazing actors. I was working on a friend's film, and it's like, hey, I'm in LA anyway. Let me cast, since I'm doing since I have to do my thesis also. And yeah, I feel as if I've found just about all of my characters. Maybe that could be revealed later, but I feel like I found everybody now, and it's just a matter of piecing it all together. We'll be having callbacks soon. I kind of have a really good idea of who I want, but we'll have callbacks and have my top choices read together, which is a great way of seeing like the on-screen chemistry. Because if there's no on-screen chemistry, that's also going to be super apparent. So I would say also, as an indie filmmaker, if you have callbacks, have them. A lot of times, this is my first time doing callbacks, so needless to say, you always don't have to do it. So I'm really excited. We're a little bit over a month away. We'll have actors in the next week and a half or so. So Downstream is really coming together. Has some people really excited about the project, and I can't wait to tell you guys more about how it's all coming together. So thank you for joining us for another episode of From Scene to Cinema. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like the Facebook page, follow us on all the social media outlets, and join us next week to see what we're up to. Thank you. Boom.